Welcome, everyone, to Color Commentary. We are your popper commentators, Michael Pitchick and Adrian Guarzales. How's it going, Adrian?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right. How was F&M? Did you make it out?
Yeah, I prized. I got that sweet fatal push promo. Go Team Adrian. We miss you around here.
Are there? Do you just need another person so you can actually get to 3 rounds, or?
No, dude, we've been firing with like 14, 15 people tournaments.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we just miss you. We like you as a person.
I know. Now I feel guilty about that joke. Are you still riding the Boros Monarch train?
No, there's too much Tron. I'm playing Affinity now.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair. No, that's super cool. I'm glad that the popper scene there is still active. I have to,
but per usual, Austin, too much control.
Yeah,
always too much control.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play popper in a legacy town. All right. Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm glad that the scene there is still thriving. So as people may have guessed, this is going to be a spoiler episode. So we're going to get through the upkeep, and then it's just going to be spoilers from there on out. We got 2 sets to cover. So let's take care of the upkeep. We are brought to you in part by Original Magic Art. Josh from Original Magic Art was on the show last week. It was a super fun episode. I had a blast. But they have all sorts of cool products. They just released a playmat with Gaia's Cradle, the art for Gaia's Cradle, one of the most iconic lands in Magic. And they're constantly coming out with new stuff featuring both magic art and art from the history of the real world. They do the classic art tokens. They are amazing. And they've got a couple of Kickstarters coming up. So when those hit, you should probably check those out. They have Relics of Wizardry, which I am incredibly excited for, little metal tokens. But yeah, they do great stuff there. So if you want original magic art, assorted paraphernalia, including playmats, dice bags, and tokens, the next time you're there and you're thinking about making an order, you can enter the code Commontary, all caps, spelled as it is in the name of this podcast, and you can get 5% off. We also get a little bit of kickback, so you're not only getting a little bit of a discount, you are also helping keep this show around. Adrian, what do you got for us?
Well, a long time ago, Mike, back in as early as the Roman era, and definitely in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, whenever somebody would like some schlub's output, Da Vinci, Galileo, Shakespeare, whenever any one of these schmucks did something good, people would be like, I think that guy should do that more often than not, but the dude's got to eat, right, Mike?
Yes, he does.
The guy's got to eat, and if I want him to do this full time and be alive to do so, I need to become his patron. And I don't mean a grim patron where they create infinite copies of themselves. And I don't mean a patron saint. Mine is not Joan of Arc, but that's the only one I could think of. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we're on Patreon. And if you want to be our patron and you think these 2 poor schmucks deserve a dollar do or 2 for all their hard work, you can find us at patreon.com/color commentary. We have all the cool benefits. You get access to shows early. You can talk to us if that's your thing. Although, we do have an email and a Facebook. So I guess maybe that's not that exclusive. But you do to be part of our online community. And we actually do have one. And I think that that's something we don't really talk about a lot in the Patreon spiel. We do have people on there talking to each other, not just to us, about how cool the game is. So if you like us, you like what we do, you want to cosplay as a Renaissance guy, Patreon.
All right. That was a pretty solid pitch. Yeah, check us out on Patreon. Yeah.
I was going to say Patreon of the Valiant, but I think we've already made that joke.
We actually used that as an episode title. But
bada bing, bada boom.
Good job. All right. So we kind of put off the spoiler episode. We've got 2 sets to cover today. So this is going to be a little bit of a marathon for us over here. So we've got Ixalan.
Yeah.
We got Ixalan, which releases, the pre-release is literally a couple days from when we record this, the day this episode releases to the general public. And then in November, I want to say in the early 20s of November, we've got Iconic Masters coming out. And Iconic Masters, of course, brought some downshifts with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about a handful of spoilers from Ixalan. And then we're going to go into the full review of all the downshifts for Iconic Masters. And I think that's all we really need to do. You want to just get into this one, Adrian?
Yeah, we'll do our standard alternating format. One of us will react, the other will read, and then the other of us will read, and the other one will read. It's going to be fun. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll start us off. First up, we've got Bishop Soldier, which is 1 and a white for a 2/2 vampire soldier with lifelink. So I thought we should talk about this because I don't think it's good enough to see play, but I do kind of like the fact that we're continually improving upon what is passable as a common creature.
I like this guy with Bone Splitter. He looks like he's holding a Bone Splitter, holding a basket saber, but whatever.
You got close. This thing does like equipment, and it's not dreadfully exciting, but I do think it's worth bringing up. We're to the point where red is getting bears and other colors get bears with upside. So,
let's also talk about missed opportunity to name this card Bishop's Pawn.
I don't know if I like that or hate it.
Or Bishop's Knight. Yeah, I'm just saying we missed a joke here.
I believe that a large chunk of I think most of the vampires that are smaller have soldier as their creature type. But yes, I see what you're saying here. There's a pun to be had. But yeah, I think that's all we really need to say about this one. It's not exciting. It could maybe see sideboard play as an efficient way to gain life, but it's not exciting, and I don't actually think it's good enough. Anything else for this one?
No. I'm going to move on to mine. Mike, you like Squadron Hawk?
I have cast a handful of Hawks in my day.
Well, what does Squadron Hawk cost? One more, was a 2/2, and didn't have flying.
I would tell you it's kind of bad.
All right, that's our next card, Legion Conquistador. When it enters the battlefield, you search your library for any number of cards named Legion Conquistador, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your library. The card also has 3 Legion Conquistadors for it. I'm going to imagine that's probably the correct number to play in a deck. Am I right?
Yeah, you don't get too greedy. So this is Squadron Hawk on the ground at a worse rate. Like, I think one of the big things is with Squadron Hawk, like if you're curving out, you're going, turn 2 Squadron Hawk, turn 3 Squadron Hawk and a 1-drop, turn 4 the other 2 Squadron Hawks. Like, it fits into a curve a little bit nicer.
Real question, would you just play this card alongside Squadron Hawk? Could you see that being a possibility? Also, I think something that we do need to consider is that it is a soldier. There is a soldier deck, no matter what tier it is, which can probably benefit from this card.
That's true. You do have, what is it? Ballynock Cohort, which reduces the cost of soldiers by 1, which has seen
Banneret.
Banneret. There we go.
But and then there's the
God, that even that seems dicey. Like, with that, I feel okay about it. Like, bear with upside of getting me 3 more bears, I think is okay. I'm not super stoked on playing something like that, but at the same time,
it's not a bear; it's a gray ogre.
Well, I'm saying with the Banneret dropping it to only 2, I'd be okay with it. But as Grey Ogre with upside, I'm unenthused by this, and it doesn't carry equipment as well as the Hawks. It doesn't really give you a game against Delver, for example, like Hawk does.
I agree with all your sentiments. Squadron Hawk is, I think, the better card. I'm just saying maybe the soldier deck gets a little bit of a boost to play this, but definitely not an exciting card. It's a unique enough effect that it's cool, and we should definitely talk about it, but it's not as good as its predecessor, probably because Squadron Hawk, due to other circumstances as well, but Squadron Hawk was insanely good in its standard format. Granted, that was a format with like really good equipment and Jace the Mind Sculptor, but it still helped. Yeah.
This is definitely a far sight from it, but I do like the fact that they're putting this ability, the tutor any number of copies of this. I can definitely see this being enjoyable and limited. Like someone's going to go really deep on these things and like have 8 of them and just chain them together, and it's going to be real obnoxious. But that said, I think that covers Legion Conquistador for our purposes.
Yeah, get to the next one.
Yeah, the next one, is one of the other themes of this set, and that's dinosaurs. And it's Looming Altasaur, which is a vanilla creature, but it is a 3 and a white for a 1/7. Now I dropped this in here because that is, I think, the most defensive body Pauper has. Like, the only things I can think of that actually kill this in combat when it's on the defense is Ulamog's Crusher, and I think that's about it without any sort of other effects. So
isn't there another X7? No, I'm thinking of a 7. I'm thinking of Don't Talk to Me or My Son Ever Again, who's a 5/5, right?
Yes. Accomplished Automaton. There we go. I did know the name,
but it's
of
a 7-drop.
Yeah. So this, I think is not playable, but I do think it's interesting to have something that is this incredibly defensive. That said, it lacks reach, and as a result is probably not good enough for this format.
Right. The next card, I mean, we're just going to keep it the theme here. Ixalan is a really cool set. It's really on par flavor-wise. It's probably one of the best flavored sets since, I want to say, maybe original Innistrad. That's how strongly I feel about it. It's just like very up my alley with the pirates and the conquistadors and the dino. It's a lot of fun. The Pauper cards, not so much. The next one is called Queen's Commission. It's a 3-drop sorcery, which is what I think really kills it. Create 2 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. And when you have cards like Raise the Alarm, this kind of token generator just seems very lackluster.
Now I have a question. Would you think this is playable if it was an instant? Like pay 1 mana more, put lifelink on those babies.
Yes, I do. And I don't think it's as good. I could see it. I don't think it's a 4 of if at an instant, but definitely maybe a 2 of in the token style decks. Just being able to commit 2 bodies off 1 card at instant speed is a powerful effect. And let's face it, Raise the Alarm is kind of undercosted for what it does.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would love to see some more instant speed token generation. I think that's a really, really interesting effect. And, a lot of flash stuff at common is overcosted for Pauper. So even Raise the Alarm, I think, is a good example of a way to let non-blue decks actually play on the stack, which is something I like, and also serves as a combat trick. I think this is not the worst token generator we have available to us, but I'd say it's pretty far from the best.
Right. And when you already have cards like Triplicate Spirits, which doesn't really see play, but you already have, why can't I think of the name? Battle Screech, that's it. And other cards like that, it's kind of hard to play this.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Next up, we've got Territorial Hammer Skull. I included this one because it is actually a strictly better card than something we already have. This is a strictly better Master of Diversions. It is 2 and a white for a 2/3 instead of a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, tap target creature an opponent controls. This is what Wizards has decided White's temporary tempo answers are, and I don't think this one's good enough. Like, maybe if this was a 2/4, I'd feel okay about it, but still dying to bolt is a big deal, I think.
Yeah. Also a 3-drop and I don't know. It's not very strong. If it did an ETB, maybe you could see something a little bit going for it. We already have ETB tap things. So.
I was going to say, then you got Core Hookmaster, which is a 2/2 that freezes it for a turn. So
right.
Yeah, this is, if this was a Titan style trigger where it was when it ETBs or attacks, I would be much more intrigued by this. That's probably too good at common though. Yeah,
let's get into blue. Up next, we have an instant called Depths of Desire. It is a 3 mana, 2 and a blue for return target creature to its owner's hand. Create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, sacrifice this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. For shorthand, we will say create a lotus petal. Love the flavor text. Pockets full of gold, lungs full of brine. It's a guy sinking on a ship because his chest is too heavy. Like, I do love the flavor of this set.
Oh yeah, the flavor and art is phenomenal. Now here's the question. When you break down that 3 mana cost, like let's say 2 of it goes towards the actual bounce effect, because that seems to be about where Wizards has settled on for bounce with upside. This is kind of just paying 1 mana to get a mana back at a later turn. Now that's
going to be really sick and limited.
Oh yeah, I think this is going to be super cool and limited. Now I have a question. You've been playing Affinity lately. Is there any place for these treasure producing cards? Just because they do count towards Affinity, the actual treasures they make?
I have not seen one that I would want to play in an Affinity deck because I don't think there's an artifact at common that also creates them. Is that true? Did I miss one?
There is one. We'll get to it much later, but I don't think that the artifact in question is good enough for Affinity. But I just was curious because I know we mentioned it on another show, and I comment, or maybe we mentioned it in a pre-show or something. I commented on how it bothered me that they weren't just the gold tokens. Someone did point out to me that the gold tokens from Theros block, all of those, those don't have to tap, and so they couldn't make it a gold token. Otherwise, it would be weird with improvise because you could pay for 2 off each token.
Interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's a funky one. I don't know. I like the treasure mechanic, and I'm going to be interested to see how it plays in limited.
Me too.
Next up, we've got Dive Down, which has gorgeous art. I absolutely love the fact that they let Magali Villanueva have a bunch of the merfolk because her style really works well with them, I think. But Dive Down is 1 blue for an instant. Target creature you control gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof until end of turn. And I actually think that this card has a home. I think it has just a straight up deck that it slots right into. I think this is fine in Tireless Tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't draw you a card.
Doesn't draw you a card, but it does grant hexproof and it buffs toughness. And fun time to learn about layers because of how switching power and toughness work. Even if you've already cast the Inside Out, swapping its power and toughness will also swap future buffs. So this is a +3/+0.
Okay, you're right. I don't hate it. I think that I wish it drew a card. It'd be much better, but then maybe a little too strong for standard set. But not too strong for Pauper. Definitely, I can see what you're saying. This is a playable card, perhaps.
Yeah, playable in a fringe deck, certainly, but I think it fits the game plan well enough that it would merit testing in that sort of list. And it does lend a little bit of stability to a deck that is a little bit glass cannon-y. So I do like that about it. But again, yeah, really, really gorgeous art. I love it. Also, I love the flavor of this one because you can see it looks like an archer, I think, trying to shoot a merfolk, and you can see the arrow kind of being slowed down in the water. I dig it.
Yeah. I dig the next card. Pirate's Prize. You give me all the good pirate cards. 3 and a blue, sorcery speed, draw 2 cards, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap, create a lotus petal. Although lotus petal, you're right, does not have to tap. Does it? Maybe it does.
No. The lotus petal does.
And then the flavor text, nothing warms the heart like plunder.
You're just loving all of the flavor text in this one.
I love pirates, dude. I actually don't mind this card. This card's going to be good. I'm not a limited player. I think drawing 2 cards and making a mana in blue for 4 mana is on par with what you want to do because it's basically, like you said, it's divination, but you get that mana back on a later turn.
Yeah, it's kind of this weird, like, you know what it is, actually? This, and the next card will definitely ram this home. This is almost a fixed version of the infamous Urza's block untap lands on ETB effect. Except you can staple this onto a spell or a creature because of the nature of it just creating tokens.
I'll buy that. I like that analogy. Definitely not as busted as the Urza mechanic. As you can see, several of those cards are now banned in Pauper. I mean, 3 of them, right? So
yeah, 100%. It's kind of like how nothing broke when we got Improvise because it was a fixed affinity that didn't do broken stuff. That said, the next card, Prosperous Pirates, 4 and a blue, 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 colorless treasure artifact tokens with 2 Lotus Petals. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep reading it. Okay, so obviously the big one is that everyone has pointed out this, a Ghostly Flicker and a Familiar gets you infinity TBs. If you can get 2 Familiars, it gets you infinite mana. Do I think this means that Familiars is back in a meaningful way and being a force in the format? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't really think so. Familiars is just not going to be as good without the untap effects because they abuse the bounce lands and stuff like Snap. That being said, I think that this card's effect is unique and very powerful. So I would be interested in seeing just how it does. I think it's gonna find a home. I actually don't mind it in Tron. The thing about it is it's a flightless Mole Drifter with slightly better stats that gets you mana. Okay, it's not like Mole Drifter at all. It reminds me of Mole Drifter in the fact it's a 5-drop blue card with upside, although it doesn't draw you the cards. So make of that what you will.
Now I'll also come back with this. It is a 5 mana 3/4, so a respectable body on it that does let you keep up counter spells.
Yeah, and I think that is actually pretty good. I actually really, really do like this card, and I'm excited to see where it ends up. Brew me away, Brewers.
All right, what do we got next here?
Up next, we have a Sailor of Means. Dude, again, just good pirates. It's a 3 mana 1/4. When it enters the battlefield, create a Lotus Petal. Do not like this card.
Yeah, this is an example of how tweaking things slightly can make a card much better or much worse. So what you're trading here is
basically the same thing almost.
Yeah, you're trading 2 generic mana for 2 extra power and an extra treasure. And like Sailor means you can technically with 2 Familiars go infinite with this on ETB triggers, not mana, just the ETB triggers. So I like having these one after another just to compare them, but I think Sailor of Means is a complete miss.
Maybe in the combo deck, it'll turn out that the mana. But I mean, Drake showed us this is just not true. That maybe in the combo deck, it'll turn out that the cheaper card is actually the better one. But I just like Prosperous Pirates so much more.
Yeah, I also think Prosperous Pirates has other applications because a 1/4 is a very defensive body. A 3/4 is fairly defensive, but can also swing out. The 1/4 just doesn't feel good in that role. Next up, we have a creature which I believe is unique in its creature type, Shorekeeper. It is a Trilobite or Trilobite. That was there we go. That certainly was a deep cut. But this card is a 1 mana card that has Treasure Cruise stapled onto it. It's yes.
What do we think about that? Legitimately.
Okay, so let's read the thing. So it's a blue for an 0/3 and 7 and a blue, tap, sacrifice it, draw 3 cards. I don't think this is great. I want to hear your opinion.
So obviously the only deck it really goes into is Tron. I don't think that, I mean, Scred Delver certainly can get to 8 mana, but no Delver deck wants this weird blue 1-drop. You know, it's actually not Treasure Cruise. I mean, it is, but Delve is what made Treasure Cruise busted.
Yeah,
this is not.
It's just hard casting a Treasure Cruise. I don't know.
I don't think I like that.
Yeah, eight is rough. Like, if this was somewhere in like the 6 range, I'd say yeah, let's do this. Let's sleeve up some trilobites and let's jam this into Tron. But as it stands, like Tron has a hard time casting this turn 1. It has an 0/3 body, so like yes, it dies to bolt. Yes, it doesn't block everything in the format. But this is actually part of a cycle of like 1-drops with 8 mana abilities, and I think that this is probably the best one. There's one later that I included to talk about, but I think this is the best of them, and even this one I don't think is great.
Yeah, it like you said, it's a cycle, and I don't know. I can see how it's not that thrilling. Although it does say the flavor text again. Over their long lifespans, the larger trilobites accumulate vast treasure troves in their guts. Wink, wink.
I actually like that. I like the flavor of that, like tearing open this bug and there's gold inside.
Yeah, but I'm saying I feel like it's a treasure cruise joke.
Oh, I wonder if that's intentional. Now I have to go on Twitter and yell at people in creative.
Up next, we have a 4-drop Merfolk Wizard. By the way, Merfolk still not a deck, I don't think, unfortunately. But what this does is it is a, like I said, it's a 4-drop 3/2. It cannot be blocked, which is pretty cool. And then it says when it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. What kills this for me is it does not say permanent. Otherwise, I'd say sign it up for Reality Acid.
Yeah, this is very close to maybe making that deck a thing, because honestly, like being able to curve you could even make the argument at that point for some like weird mono blue acid deck where you're just like trying to go turn 2 Reality Acid, turn 3 Storm Sculptor, kill your thing. I now have an unblockable 3/2. But yeah, this is, again, I think just a hair too not good enough for Pauper.
Yeah.
And this one wouldn't even be breaking anything if it was Pauper legal. I don't think, this was the straw that breaks Reality Acid's losing streak.
No, but it could have been a fun tool.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we've got another part of that cycle of 8 mana activated abilities on 1 mana creatures, and this is Blightkeeper, and it is a creature bat imp, which I deeply love as a creature type line. But it is a 1/1 flyer for a black, and it has 7 and a black. Tap, sacrifice. Target opponent loses 4 life, and you gain 4 life. Now, I think this is the first time we've seen a Suntail Hawk, a 1 mana 1/1 flyer in black.
With upside, no like.
Yeah. There's an upside. It does require you to get to 8 mana, but I don't know. Is there a home for something like this where it just kind of sits there, and if you happen to hit 8, it lets you burn them out?
I mean, the aggro black deck comes to mind, but I don't know if that deck's ever getting to 8 mana. I mean, maybe it's insurance. Certainly, a 1/1 for 1 with evasion doesn't. Like, that's just Flying Man, right? I don't think that absolutely stinks in that style of deck. They played Morning Thrall, so.
Yeah, I don't think that this is like amazing, but it's also a very good rate for what you're getting. Yeah. Okay. So what's up next?
We got Contract Killing. I don't like this card. You know why? It's pirates killing pirates. Pirates killing pirates. Pirates ought to stick together. It says it's a 5 mana, 2 black and a 3 sorcery, which is also why I don't like destroy target creature, create 2 lotus petals. Hard pass. Sorcery speed, black removal at 5. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, this is, I think, the worst version of Murder. I think.
Yeah, it's not good.
Because like that's the obvious comparison, because at the end it only technically really costs you 3 mana, quote unquote. But yeah, this is a rough sell. Removal is not as good as it used to be.
Murder is far and away is a better removal spell than this. Murder is definitely a better removal spell.
Next up, we've got a Costly Plunder.
Do like this card.
1 and a black, and this is actually another strictly better card. This is 1 and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards. So this is Altar's Reap, except you can pop a creature to it. Alternately, it's a worse color shifted Perilous Research, I guess.
Yeah, Altar's Reap is a creature. You can sacrifice an artifact. The thing about Perilous Research, the sacrifice is also not a cost.
Yep.
You draw the cards and then you sacrifice. So it's actually, Perilous Research is the best effect of this, I think.
Yeah. That said, this is a solid upgrade, and if there is some deck that both wants to be sacrificing creatures and has incidental artifacts, preferably something like, say, Ichor Wellspring, this card does get a little bit better if you don't have access to blue for Perilous Research.
Up next, you know what's better than regular pirates?
What?
Undead pirates. This
Go ahead.
next card is the black pirate shifted version of Ghoul Caller's Chant. It's called March of the Drowned. It's black for choose one. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or return 2 pirate cards from your graveyard to your hand. Note it does not say pirate creatures. It specifically says pirates, which also makes changelings incidentally better.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so when I saw this, I misread it and I thought it said pirate creature cards, because I was like, there's no way they'd print that weird goofy interaction that happens with Nameless Inversion where you can get it back with Ghoul Caller's Chant, but sure enough, they did. It's a little weird to me. I guess they're skeletons, aren't they? Because I was gonna say this is kind of, undead part 2, but this isn't Ghoul Caller's Chant. I don't think we really have the payload for this yet. Like, Ghoul Caller's Chant seems fringe playable because we've got a long history of zombies. But with this, there's not that many pirates in Pauper.
Yeah, there's not a lot of pirates you want to get back. Sure, fine, whatever.
I guess. Hold on.
No, you're right.
Hold on. I need to go and look and see if there's there's Cloud Pirates, and there he is, Ramirez de Pietro. You can play Ramirez.
That card's awful.
Yes, it is. But looking through this list, the pirates are either from Portal 2 or Portal 2, Ixalan, or like the handful of weird ones that have been retconned into being pirates.
So, funny thing I want to just hit on real fast. It's very tangential. Bog Raiders is a zombie in every set except for Portal, where it is clearly a gang of alive people who might be pirates.
I'm just going to take a moment here because I need to see this. Okay. Definitely zombies in that. And yup, it is definitely a bunch of dudes in Portal. Huh. Weird.
Might be a lady in there.
Yeah. All right. So March of the Drowned. I don't think it has the density, but it is cool to see this effect come back. Pirate shifted. This next one gets my award for the best name in this set, Skullduggery. It is 1 black for an instant. Until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+1, and target creature and opponent controls gets -1/-1. We saw Subtle Strike in Kaladesh, which was 1 more than this, but it put a counter on 1 creature, and it didn't have to have the other target. What do you think of this? It's like a combat trick, but it's not the worst.
Yeah, I actually really like it. It's sort of like Disfigure, but I mean, it's not just straight. It's more of like, yeah, it's complicated because it is a combat trick. But there are enough X1s in the format that I think it is fine as a removal spell. That also in a pinch is a pump spell. But I wonder if most decks will just straight up want the Disfigure instead.
Yeah, I was going to say the reach of Disfigure is very appealing. The number of times you're going to want that +1/+1, like sometimes it's going to be the got you moment when they make a block and you get to blow them out. But I feel like
against Stompy, it's a great combat trick.
Okay. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Just kind of being able to have the gotcha moment of my thing was going to die, yours was going to live, and now it's the other way around.
Or you kill a thing and then you kill another thing with your pumped creature.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. It can get you the 2-for-1 there. That said, like what 1 mana tricks and removal, I like a lot more than even 2 mana tricks and removal. So I kind of like this more than Subtle Strike, but Subtle Strike also doesn't see any play. So I'm not expecting this to make big waves.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got next?
Next, we have Brazen Buccaneers, a 4-mana 2/2 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, it explores. This is our first explore card, so we'll say what it does. Reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, put a 1/1 counter creature, 1/1 counter on this creature, then put the card back or put it into your graveyard. Powerful effect, very, I think, underrepresented compared to the treasure mechanic. I still don't think it's very good.
Yeah, this is probably the most exciting then because it is kind of a card draw spell in red. And, with red, you take what you can get. And it does have haste. The catch is the kind of deck that wants to be playing hasty creatures does not want them at 4 mana, I think, in this format.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Cool art, though. Bunch of pirates.
Very cool.
On a boat.
Nah, I like the next one's artwork better.
All right, the next one is also part of the 7 mana the 7 mana or 8 mana, excuse me, cycle of 1-drops. So this is a red for 1/1 with menace. And we've seen this body before in Insolent Neonate. And this one comes with 7 in a red, tap, sacrifice, fire shrine keeper. It deals 3 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. And that was the bit that got me because I did not see the up to 2 creatures the first couple passes through. Does this potentially have a home in Tron?
No, it's just too slow. Removal. Flame Slash, I think, is just better. You use it in the early game. I don't think Tron's in the market for an 8 mana beefed up Twin Bolt. I just think this card's going to be really good and limited.
But it's a little too slow for us. I would have even been happier with this at like 6 mana and only 1 creature, but even then, not super exciting. Yeah, that's about it.
The next one is similarly flawed in my opinion. It's called Fire Cannon Blast, double red and 1, total of 3. For sorcery, deals 3 damage to target creature. Raid deals 6 damage to that creature. Raid is if you attack the creature. It does something else. But again, 3 mana, sorcery speed, removal spell. I don't care if it's 6 damage or not. Now, it only goes to the creature too.
This does kill anglers. I mean, it's no longer like the bane of the format, but it does. This is an answer to things that red usually has a problem answering on a 1-to-1 scale. Now, that said, if you have to swing in and something dies in order for you to cast this, it feels bad, but I don't know. I don't hate this as much. I think most of the time you'd rather have what is that card? The one with Morbid, the 3 mana deal 3, but if you have Morbid,
Brimstone Volley.
There you go. Thank you, sir. I think you'd rather have Brimstone Volley most of the time, but I don't hate this as much as you do. Next up, we talked about red aggressive cards. We've got Nest Robber, which is 1 in a red for a 2/1 with haste. Is this good enough to get into the ever rotating slots of red deck wins assorted 2 mana, 2 power hasters?
What is there already? Valley Dasher?
Yeah, Valley Dasher has the downside of it has to attack every turn.
But it is a 2 toughness creature.
That's true. Although that deck plays not many 1 toughness creatures. So I might make the argument that this doesn't care about that it's a deck that cares less about Electrickery as opposed to some other aggro decks.
You can also just run both.
Yeah, you can. I think this is just fine. I also love that it is a dinosaur that looks like a macaw in terms of coloration.
Yeah. Up next, we have the 8 mana Ancient Brontodon. It's a 9/9 vanilla. No.
Well, give it its respect. This is the largest vanilla creature ever, and it's also the largest creature available in Pauper. But that's really the only reason I put it in here. Also, it looks like it has a mullet. Moving on. Colossal Dreadmaw, 4 green for a 6/6 with trample. This kind of falls in with Bishop's Soldier. Again, it's It passes the vanilla test and has a evergreen ability stapled onto it. This is probably not good enough for us, but we're getting ever closer to having really, really good creatures in Pauper.
Up next, we have Crash the Ramparts, a 3-mana instant green, 2 in a green. Target creature gets +3/+3, gains trample to end of turn. Could be good and infect.
I think I should have deleted this one, man. I think that there's a 2-mana version of this.
Okay.
All right.
But no, that one's a sorcery. This is an instant.
I don't know, dude.
You're thinking of larger than life, right?
No, I'm not thinking of larger than life. I'm pretty sure that there is a card that is just straight up this, but it doesn't. But it costs one less.
All right,
hold on.
It's fine.
I'm gonna look it up because now it's gonna bother me. +3/+3 and trample. Awaken the Bear is a function. This is a functional reprint of Awaken the Bear and Predator's Strike. Predator's Strike from Mirrodin is 1 in a green for target creature gets +3/+3 and trample until end of turn at instant speed. So,
okay,
I goofed.
Never mind.
How about you take the next one?
Crushing Canopy, 2 in a green, instant. Just choose one. Destroy target creature with flying. Destroy target enchantment. Very similar to a Braid from the last set, except it doesn't do damage.
Yeah. So your green decks are always going to want some amount of what's the Conspire one? I'm completely Gleeful Sabotage, and you're going to want some amount of answers for flyers. If you're strapped, if you need to like tech your sideboard against a very specific matchup for some reason, this does cover both of those effects. It is a 3-drop though, which makes it kind of out of the range of Stompy some games. So I'm not sure if this has a home, but I like it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get on to our next one, which is
Ixalan-ic Diviner. That is 1 in a green for a 0/3, and when it enters the battlefield, it explores. If there was a defensive green deck, I'd like this a lot. Or if it had Defender on it, I'd like it more.
Yeah, because then it would go into the Fruit from the Real deck.
Yeah, as it stands, unimpressive, but not terrible.
Up next, we have Jungle Delver, which is green for a 1/1, and when you reveal a creature card, it flips into it. No, I'm kidding. It's green for a 1/1, with 3 in a green. Put a 1/1 counter onto Jungle Delver.
Yes,
I don't hate.
Yes, the good old 9-mana 3/3.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Next up, we've got New Horizons, which is 2 in a green for an enchant aura. Enchant target land. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. An enchanted land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool.
This is strictly better than a card we got in the last set, isn't it? Isn't there something like this that just came out?
I think the other one gains you life.
Oh, okay. Not strictly better. Gotcha.
We've got like a handful of these effects though. There was one I think in Shadows that investigated when it ETB'd. So they're just kind of testing out every variation of the 3-mana, turn this into a soul land and do a thing on ETB. So not super exciting, but I think I guess Freed doesn't really care about counters. It cares more about the life that it could gain from that other one, Sheltered Airy. But I don't know. This is probably fine in limited.
Up next, we've got. Wait, did I just do that one?
No, you're good. You're next.
Okay. Next, we have Pounce, 1 in a green, instant. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So it's basically Pit Fight.
It's Pit Fight, but you can't play it in red. It also can't get killed by. It can't get countered by a Pyroblast or a Hydroblast.
True.
Minor upside, but probably not super relevant. I'm going to just get rid of that next one because I don't want to talk about it. And this one. I want to talk about this last card, though. You asked about artifacts that make treasure. This is Prying Blade. Prying Blade is a generic mana for an equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. It equips for 2 generic, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a lotus petal.
I like this a lot. You can trinket mage it.
You can trinket mage it. I think Alex Ullman referred to this as the not so much Sword of Feast and Famine, but Sword of Midnight Snack. And
I actually really like this card.
It's a really interesting effect, and I think if you pair this with Squadron Hawk, I feel okay about it.
Yeah, I actually really don't mind it. I think it definitely goes in a deck like the deck Squadron Hawk would go in, because it lacks the raw power of Bone Splitter. But I am pleased to see another like trinket mage weapon that is good in the late game, because I think now we have 3. We have this, we have Bone Splitter, and we have Sylvok Lifestaff.
Yeah, this is I don't know. This seems like a very powerful effect in a very understated way. And this is, I think, the card I'm the most excited about in this set, because it is a lot of text for a common.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. So Ixalan, why is this not a great set for us?
Its power level is just so low, which is for the common level, which is keeping on track with other standard common sets.
I think it's part that. I also think the fact that it's geared towards like these kind of rampy strategies. Like, we weren't going to get a really great green thing because green has like 8. It literally has an 8 drop at common. I don't know. I think that this is a format that is going to be great to play in limited. It's probably going to be pretty cool for standard players, but for Pauper, a format that is kind of defined by its low to the ground aggro decks right now, I can't see anything from this really having that huge of an impact. I'm curious about Prosperous Pirates. I wonder if that's going to pop off or not, but I don't know. I'm excited for the set, but I also think it brought almost nothing to our format. And I think that's okay, because we've got Iconic Masters.
Yeah, how are you doing on time?
Oh, we're getting up there. So let's dig right into these.
All right, so getting into Iconic Masters, our first card is the 6 mana Scion of Ugin, which is a 4/4, 6 colorless, 6 generic mana, I should say. It's just a 4/4 flyer for 6. Thoughts?
This card was not good in Dragon's draft. It probably isn't good now. I don't know.
It's better.
The art's the same.
No, it's not.
So Adrian,
I'm looking. It is the same art. What am I thinking of?
You might be thinking of Ugin's Construct.
That's definitely what I'm thinking of.
All right, yeah. This is a big old nothing. Notably, though, it is the first card in the set because it is a colorless creature. Next up, we've got Angel of Mercy. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Most recently reprinted as Aven of Enduring Hope, and that's not getting played. So cool.
Hate it.
Cool art though. I like the Vulcan Baga, like very Renaissance sort of vibe it's got going on.
Next up, we have Emerge Unscathed. The target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Rebound. Unfortunately, we have Apostle's Blessing. So the decks that might want to play this, looking at Blitz or Infect or Stompy, just aren't going to be splashing white and already have a similar effect.
Well, let me come at you from another angle. How about this in like a mono white deck where it's just the first half of it protects you from removal, the second half lets you get in past blockers?
What's that card? Protection from the Elements is not a common. Is that right? That's an uncommon.
You're thinking of Brave the Elements, the all your white creatures get protection from the color of your choice one. Yes, that is an uncommon.
That's not uncommon.
Okay, this is. It feels deeply medium, but I also can see like. I just feel like there is a use for this. I don't think it fills the same role as Apostle's Blessing, though. Like, I don't think this is a strictly defensive card.
Okay.
It is, I believe, if I remember Dragons of Tarkir correctly, I believe, yes, this is a strictly better. Center Soul from Dragons of Tarkir was this, but it cost an extra generic mana. So this is actually a strictly better version of a card we already had. Next up,
good.
and this is the big one. This is the early mic drop bomb of the set. Seeker of the Way. 1 and a white for a 2/2 human warrior with prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Seeker of the Way gains lifelink until end of turn. What do we do with this? This card is very good.
I like it a lot.
Like, I think its biggest issue is like there's not a deck pre-made that wants this.
Right, because there's just not really like a prowess kind of deck. Maybe like I was gonna say like a blue-white tempo-y style. I don't know.
I mean, I think the closest thing to a pre-made deck for this would be jamming this into a white tokens list, because a lot of your creatures are actually not creatures as far as this card cares. And like think about it, like turn 2 Seeker of the Way, turn 3 like I don't know, like Bone Splitter, equip Bone Splitter, swing for 5 with lifelink, and then play a Doom Traveler, I guess.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It is a warrior though, so unfortunately it does not go into the soldier deck.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just like, in terms of raw power level, I think the only prowess creature they could have downshifted from uncommon from this set that would have been more impactful is Swift Spear. And I kind of wish they had.
But that would already have a deck, right? Like, it's not the same.
True.
Swift Spear is the better card. It's a haste red drop. It'll go in a burn, or red deck wins, or goblins. I don't know. It'll go in all the aggressive red decks.
Yeah.
Probably not goblins.
Yeah, probably not goblins, but red deck wins and burn would both love to have that card. I mean, it's playable in modern and legacy burn, so it's probably good enough for Pauper burn. Yeah, Seeker of the Way I think is the big get from Iconic Masters. I just don't know where it goes yet. I'm sure that the first week that this is legal, we're going to see a lot of interesting takes on it. But I do believe that the power level on this card is high enough that we will see a 5-0 very rapidly with it. The question is whether or not this card is real. If this is going to be, a flash in the pan, or this is going to stick around and be a format all-star.
The next card is Survival Cache, which is 2 and a white for sorcery. You gain 2 life. Then if you have more life than an opponent, draw a card, rebound. I actually like this card a lot.
Okay. Do you mind extrapolating on why? Because all I can see here is a very, very goofy divination.
Well, because it's a white spell that draws you a card.
It conditionally draws you a card, though. I don't know.
It doesn't feel good when you're already behind. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it feels hard to have this as a main deck inclusion and like sideboarding into a draw spell and life gain. It feels to me like the games you're not going to be down on life as this like mid-range white deck that kind of likes this. It feels like the only games you're not going to be up where you're not going to be down on life are going to be control and mid-range matchups. And I feel like those are the ones where, like, mid-range, it might matter because like mid-range on mid-range, it's usually who draws more cards. But against control, like, sure, like they can counter this on the first half, and then you never see the second half, so you're out 4 life and 2 cards. I don't know.
That settles it. I'm trying it in Monarch. You've convinced me.
Okay.
Not really. I was joking.
Actually, I can almost see it there. Because you are playing like the Alchemist Vials. You're already playing like this game of kind of keep away from my life total. I don't hate it there entirely.
Okay.
What do
we have now?
Yeah. Sustainer of the Realm. 2 white for a 2/3 with flying. Whenever it blocks, it gets +0/+2 until end of turn. I think this is trash.
Yeah, not much to say here. It can't even block more than one thing.
All right, take it away. What's the next one?
Up next, we have Dissolve, which is cancel, but you get to scry. 2 and a blue and a 1. Counter target spell, scry 1. We have actual counterspell, though. So, yeah.
Well, I'm just going to toss this out there. I don't think that you play this instead of counterspell. I think you play this in addition to it.
But we also have Prohibit.
We have Prohibit, but Prohibit gets worse after a certain point for the control game. Like, Prohibit does not counter your Gurmag Anglers. It doesn't counter any of Tron's payloads. I mean, Prohibit is good against the aggro matchups. I think that this is the control mirror breaker when you get to dig a card deeper, where you're basically just saying which one of us is going to draw into our win con first. I kind of actually like Dissolve. Do I like it more than Counterspell? No. Do I like it more than is it Disperse? Is that the Return a Land one?
No, that is called Deprive.
Deprive. There we go. It's another D1. Do I like this better than Deprive? I'm not sure. I just think that this is never going to be counterspells 1 through 4. It may sometimes be counterspells 5 through 6. So I don't know. I like it.
Up next. Oh, This is you.
Next
Poppy,
up, we've got Jace's Phantasm. Jace's Phantasm is a blue for a 1/1 with flying. So it's just flying men. And then it gets +4/+4 as long as an opponent has 10 or more cards in their graveyard. I don't think this is good.
All right. Why is that?
I think that relying on your opponent actually having stuff in the bin is less reliable than we think. I don't know. It seems like one of those effects where when this works, a 1 mana 5/5 in the air is absurd. When it doesn't work, you're playing Flying Men, and Flying Men is not like the only reason that Delver gets away with playing Flying Men is because their version of Flying Men draws a card. So I don't know. I just can't see this. Sure. I can't see this like getting there. I can see that this is the type of card that is going to post up a handful of 5/0s and maybe like a good finish in a challenge and then vanish. Like, it's going to be one of those things where when the stars align, this card is good and it does well and everyone gets to see it shine. But I don't think that this can consistently be this stupidly undercosted beater enough for this to be like a real card. But that's just me.
No, I see what you're saying.
All right. Next up, what do we got?
Next up, we have Jesse and Thief, which I actually like a lot, except that Into the Deep Hours exists. She is a 3 mana 1/3, 2 and a blue for a human rogue with prowess. Whenever Jesse and Thief deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. She also looks like someone I know in real life, so I actually do like her.
Huh, that's interesting. I can't think of anyone I know who looks like the Art on Magic card. So when this was spoiled, I saw a lot of people being like, "Oh wow, maybe there's this like Pauper Prowess deck." What's your take on that? Because we've got Seeker of the Way, we've got a handful of other options for it.
You know, I really don't hate the idea. It certainly seems like a thing, right?
Yeah, but why not just play Delver Fiend? I guess is my question. Blitz, I guess, since it no longer plays Delver. I don't know.
True.
Like,
damn you and your logic.
Maybe this is me growing out of touch with the more fun-loving crowd.
Kids.
Yeah. Is it me who's wrong? No, it must be the children. But I don't know. To me, like, I can't see a reason to pass over a competitive deck that has a proven track record in favor of playing new cards. That said,
sure.
Man,
you curmudgeon.
Man, I just realized this is a much better Ophidian. This is
it still does damage.
It also has prowess. Like, man, I remember when Ophidian was good. I remember when that was like a good card, and this is just like leagues better than that. All right.
You maroon.
Enough being an old man. I like this card. I don't think it has a home.
No, probably not.
Next up, speaking of prowess, we got Riverwheel Aerialists, a tongue twister.
Even worse card. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so it's 6 mana, 5 and a blue for a 4/5 Jin Monk, and it has flying and prowess. This was pretty good in Khan's block draft. Again, though, like 6 mana is a lot in Pauper. Like six mana is sometimes what all of Stompy's opening hand costs collectively. I don't know.
It doesn't seem great.
Yeah.
6 mana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it that much.
And like we already have the hexproof prowess thing, which appeals to me more than this, because at least that way, if you're sinking a ton of mana into it, you make them have the edict. But like, man, good art, lousy card. Speaking of, you got this next one.
Yeah, we have Foul Tongue Invocation, which is a 2 and a black for an instant. As an additional cost, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. Target player sacrifices a creature. If you reveal a dragon card or control a dragon when you cast it, you gain 4 life.
So, Adrian, did you know Nameless Inversion makes this always active?
Yes, that is actually pretty good.
Here's my question, though. I can see the value there of like against, say, hexproof, where you get the chance to be like, okay, Foul Tongue Invocation targeting you, and then reveal my Nameless Inversion, then cast Nameless Inversion to kill the thing that you were going to sack originally. And I'm up 4 life, but I paid 5 mana for that luxury. I don't know. I fail to see an instance where this is really great, just because I don't think you're ever honestly activating this. You're doing a stupid synergy with a changeling in order to get this active. The 4 life part of it. And I guess my question is, would you play this card if it was 3 mana, instant speed, edict, gain 4 all the time?
Yes.
Okay. So
I think the gaining 4 is relevant enough.
Okay, so let me posit it to you this way. If you contort your deck so that 50% of the time this thing is on by turn 3, right? So we're saying 50% chance. So would you play 2 and a black, target player sacrifices a creature, you gain 2 life?
2 and a black, target opponent sacrifices a creature, you gain 2 life. That still seems like it's worth the mana.
Okay. I can respect your opinion. I disagree, but
okay.
You know,
I just think there's not really a dragon deck.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like,
there's more the issue. Yeah,
you're never honestly like revealing a dragon. You're just kind of going, well, I got this, and technically the rules say it's a dragon, but you know.
Yeah, and even then, I actually don't like it with Nameless Inversion, because then you're playing Nameless Inversion.
Yeah, I've played Nameless Inversion in a lot of janky decks, and that's kind of where it lives. Like you're always playing it because you have some janky tribal synergy that lets you tutor for it, or lets you get value off the fact that it counts as all creature types. You're never playing that in decks where you're actually doing something that's super good and active most of the time, in my experience. Next up, a card I don't hate. Thrill Kill Assassin is 1 and a black for a 1/2 Death Touch with Unleash. And for those of you who weren't playing during Return to Ravnica, Unleash is you may have this creature enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So you get a 2/3 instead of a 1/2, but it can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. I dig this. I like low mana cost Death Touch creatures.
I'm a Rakdos fan. That was my guild. Big fan of Massacre Girl. This is not Massacre Girl.
Yeah.
But I do like Maskell Girl. Also, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult's a great band.
But what about this card?
It's a pretty good card.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's a death toucher that you don't want to use to block.
Yeah, it is kind of in that awkward position. I would say the best comparison to this would be Dund Assassin, the 2/2 from Kaladesh, that if you control an artifact got +1/+0 and death touch. So it was a conditional 3/2 death touch, and this is kind of a conditional 2/3 death touch. With less of a deck building restriction, right? I mean, I guess this one you can't. I guess you can get. Ooh, huh. I didn't think about this, but if you don't unleash it and you cast Undying Evil on this, it does come back as a 3/4.
If you don't unleash it,
if you don't unleash it the first time, you can Undying Evil it back and then have it enter with a +1/+1 counter the second time.
Oh,
yeah, you can cheat a 3/4 out of it. It's cutesy, but you can do that. I don't know. This was a solid limited card. I'm glad it's in the format. I don't think it has a home. That's like the constant refrain of this episode is like, this is a cool card, but where does it go?
Yeah, we're certainly kind of hard on new sets. Up next, we have Virulent Swipe, which is an instant target creature gets +2/+0 and death touch till end of turn, rebound.
So this is joining that whole like collection of 1 mana combat tricks that black gets. Like we've got like Butcher's Glee, Touch of Moonglove, Boon of Erebos. We've just been getting a ton of these where it'll be some variant of like +X+O, and then like an evergreen keyword, and half of them have a way that the creature comes back. What are your thoughts on this particular take on it?
The +2/+0 is interesting. The death touch I don't think is very good.
I mean, it turns your creature into a removal spell, right?
Yeah. But then, like, worst case, you're 2 for 1ing your opponent. You're 2 for 1ing yourself, rather, because even if you cast this, you have no other creatures in play. It's not very good.
Yeah. And compared to, oh God, I've already forgotten the name of it. Compared to Emerge Unscathed, this, like, it kind of fills the same role on the second half where it might let you get in for extra damage. But with this, they still have the option. Like, if it's still lethal, they can still get in front of the thing, even though it has death touch. With Emerge Unscathed, they just can't.
It's probably solid and limited.
Oh, it's probably sweet and limited. This is the exact kind of combat trick you want to play. It's a combat trick that comes back and always trades for a creature. Yeah, nice art though. This is one of the Raymond Swanland pieces I really like. His spikiness works well here.
Spiky guy.
Yeah, he loves spines. Next up, we've got White of Precinct 6, which is 1 and a black for 1/1, and it gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your opponent's graveyard. Okay.
So what do we think about that? It's kind of like Jace's Phantasm.
It's kind of in that same spot of like, well, what if your opponent doesn't play that many creatures? Like how big does white have to be for you to be happy with this and feel like you've gotten a good rate on your non-evasive creature?
I'm going to go with a 4. It has to be a 4.
Okay, so you're saying by the time your opponent has 3 things in the bin, you feel pretty okay about casting this guy. Now, what happens if your opponent's on say alchemy and they start delving away their own creatures so that this thing is smaller?
Bad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, it's certainly one of those cards that I've seen used to good effect. Especially like I've even seen this played in Commander where it's just like, sure, yeah, that's like a 20/20. But I think this isn't right for Pauper. If this counted all graveyards, I'd feel much differently about it. Because then this would be another Mortician Beetle style thing for aristocrats where once you've sacked everything, there's still value in having them in your bin.
Yeah. Another card that got downshifted from rare.
Yeah.
Their recent set.
Yeah, we do have one of those in here. It's a little bit later, but how about you take the next riff on a classic card?
I just some of these cards just don't feel that classic. Moving into red, we have Draconic Roar, 2 mana, 1 in a red instant. As an additional cost to cast Draconic Roar, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. So red is a dragony color. And then it also has when Draconic I cannot talk. Draconic Roar deals 3 damage to target creature. If you reveal the dragon, it also deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. So it's a more easily castable, kind of more situational Searing Blaze.
Yeah, it is. I should note, it also triggers if the dragon's in play, but let's be real, you don't have a dragon in play. You're playing Pauper, you do not have a dragon in play. Please.
Yeah, you probably don't.
Don't come into my Twitter mentions and lie to me.
Common dragons? There are common dragons.
Yes, we've got like 2 of them. We got Dragon Egg, and we actually have one that's like a couple away that we'll get to, but there are not a lot of common dragons. And the ones that aren't great, which is exactly why I'm going to give the next card Dragonlord Servant, which is 1 in a red for a 1/3 with dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. A big old pass. As we've mentioned,
it's a 1/3.
It's a 1/3 in a color pair that does not want in a color identity that does not want a 1/3, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah. There's not much else I can say about this one. Like, you're never discounting spells with this, and a 1/3 is not where you want to be at 3 mana with no ETB effect. Like, Augur gets away with it because it does something very good. This is not Augur.
Keeping with bad red cards, up next we have Earth Elemental, Vanilla 4/5 for 5, 2 red and a 3.
Yeah, really cool art. I was actually shocked to find out that this was a downshift. Apparently, it just hasn't been printed in long enough that this was from an era where this was an uncommon. That said, I really dig the art on this.
Yeah, it's got some cool art. It's just not a very strong card.
Next up, we've got Furnace Whelp, which is 2 red for a 2/2 with flying, and it has fire breathing, which is pay red.
Hold on. I forgot we got a Furnace Whelp downshift. Now the other cards are suddenly a lot better.
Are they?
No, but we forgot about Furnace Whelp, which has the cutest flavor text of all time. Baby dragons can't figure out humans. If they don't want to be killed, why are they made of meat and treasure? Sorry, I stole your thunder on this card. Keep going.
To be fair, that is a very great piece of flavor text, and the new art for this is super adorable. Like, it kind of is just like this little tiny dragon. Super cute.
Kawaii.
It's done. We're canceling the podcast. It's over.
Okay.
But in all seriousness, I don't think this is great. It's fine to have this as a common, and I think this could be common in a future standard set even. It's not that high powered, but I don't know. When it's something that wasn't on my radar as like, man, it would be sweet for this to be downshifted in the least. Seeing it downshifted, it's cute, but that's about it. That's all it's got going for, in my opinion.
Sure. You monster. Up next, we have Mark of Mutiny, a riff on Threaten. Gain control 2 in a red for gain sorcery, gain control target creature into turn, put a 1/1 counter on it and then tap it. That creature gains haste. So you make their guy a little bigger and hopefully kill him with it, because otherwise it's going to kill you.
Yeah, so I mean, like the options here are cast this when that creature will be lethal, or like cast this when you have a way to sacrifice that creature, I guess. But it does technically, it's an act of treason that makes the thing bigger. So I guess if your opponent has a bunch of unleash stuff and they need to be on the defense, you could use this to make it so they can't block ?
Combos with our next card.
Yeah, sure. We'll say it combos with the next one. The next one is Crowned Ceratok, which is 3 and a green for a 4/3 with trample. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. If this effect was on an 0/1 for 1, I would love this card.
Interestingly enough, this is also a rhino, not a beast.
Yeah, it
Or a
is.
beast, not a rhino. Oh yeah, sorry, rhino, not a beast. Go ahead.
You want to take one more crack at that just to make sure?
I'm very tired. You go ahead.
I don't know. This is the sort of effect that Stompy might like to have, since it's a deck with a proclivity for playing Hunger the Howl Pack. That said, 4 mana might as well be infinite in a good match for Stompy. And you'd much rather just play Rancor on your dudes like every time. So yeah, pass for me.
Up next, we have Duskdale Worm, a 7 mana, 5 and 2 green. I mean, 7/7 with trample.
I'm really tempted to make a big old raspberry noise into the microphone and move on with my life. This is not a great one. It's never been good, in fact. But yeah, this is what a common looks like now, and I'm okay with it being downshifted. Up next,
This card used to be uncommon. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, this next one.
No, yeah, the next one used to be rare. Sorry,
Yep,
go ahead.
Yep, this is our token green rare that got downshifted to a common, and it is Ivy Elemental. So it's X and a green. Enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it. It is a 0/0. This is, I think, empirically the worst fireball in the world.
Yeah, I can see that.
If this had some form of evasion on it, or even like the reverse menace, where it's like you can't block this with more than one creature, would you feel better about this?
You can give it tramp with Crown Ceratok.
You stop that right now. you stop and you read the next card.
The next card is Chatty Offshoot. No. It's G for an 0/3 with Defender. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. All right. Actually, this is better than your all caps no would lead me to believe. What about in Jund lands, for instance? That's your one deck.
If you can really aggressively dirtle, this will help that out. The gaining 1 life whenever you have a land ETB is slow, but I don't know. I guess you get to do this with like gain lands as well, turning them into like reverse shocks ? But I don't know. This is slow and dirtly, and I say this as someone who plays slow and dirtly decks like it's my job.
It's not the greatest.
No, I hadn't actually ever taken a moment though to appreciate how nice the art is on this card. I actually quite like it. So
even the trees go trees.
That's a bad flavor text there. It's not a good one. It's a miss for me, dog. Next up, Lead the Stampede. Now this has generated a lot of discussion, and well, let's get into this. So Lead the Stampede, 2 and a green, sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Rest go to the bottom of your library in any order. So let's get the elephant in the Stampede out of the way. Is this a replacement for Distant Melody?
I have not yet had a chance to watch Maverick Girls videos. Did you?
No, I actually got straight home and started recording pretty much. So Maverick Girl, friend of the show, she was talking about this, and she pitched the idea that you don't play this in the Elves deck that everyone knows, but this means you no longer have to play towards paying blue mana into a spell. Like the two obvious things here in my mind are compare this to Distant Melody and compare it. A lot of people wanted to compare it to Collected Company. And I think both of those...
That's a mistake.
Yeah, both of those I think are fallacious in their own way. But how many, like, just on like a raw abstract level, how many creatures do you have to hit with Lead the Stampede to feel good about it? Like, are you... Okay, so you want better than Divination.
I mean, I guess 2's fine.
Okay, no. I'm just saying, like, I think it's interesting to see. I want to see the sort of more mid-rangey, less combo-y elves that can take advantage of this, because I think there's an interesting deck there. I don't know if it's good. Is the big thing. I definitely should have watched those videos before we recorded, but time waits for no one. I think this is another one of the big ones, like from Iconic Masters, that we're going to see played. Whether it's elves or some sort of mid-range deck that just needs to dig for a whole bunch of creatures at some point. I don't know, but I think this is another one that we're going to see in a 5-0 list at some point or do well in a challenge. I
think so too.
Yeah, I can't tell you where, but it will happen.
Up next, we got Praise Vengeance, a card I do like. 1 mana, target creature gets +2/+2 till end of turn. Rebound.
Okay, so why do you like this when you were kind of so lukewarm on the white and black rebound spells?
This goes into Stompy, and you can pump your creature twice.
Okay, so I guess why do you prefer this over, let's say, Groundswell? Another 1 mana, total of 4 damage, right?
I think Groundswell is better. I just think this card is better than the other cards we've looked at.
Okay, that's totally fair. That is a really weird animal on Praise Vengeance. I don't know what it is. It's got very tiny eyes, though.
Yeah, I can't tell.
Point being, if this finds a home, you think it's just Stompy, no one else? I mean, I guess they are the only mono green deck that really wants a 1 mana trick, right?
Yeah. Wow, your note on this one.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
No. I guess hearing it from someone else can sometimes change my opinion on these things. Next up, we've got Darksteel Axe, which is a generic for an indestructible artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and it equips for 2. So, no. Compare to Bone Splitter. Game 1, this is just a worse Bone Splitter in almost every conceivable way. And
all that main deck artifact removal people are running.
Exactly. Like, also, it has, like, if this costs 2 and equipped for 1, I'd feel much better about it, because sure, it comes down a turn later, but the equipped cost is what is going to kill you on this thing, because like casting, like compare it. Like if I had a 2 mana version of this that equipped for 1 and I cast it and I equipped it 3 times, that version I would have spent 5 mana. This version, if I cast and equip it 3 times, I've spent 7. Like, yeah, this one, it's a pass for me. I'm good.
Up next, we have a card I really like, Guardian Idol. It is from Mirrodin originally. It is a 2 mana, enters the battlefield tapped mana rock. I actually did not realize enter the battlefield tapped. And then, so you can add a colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can pay 2 for it to become a 2/2 golem artifact creature until end of turn.
Can I just point out, is the art on this, is that Amonkhet?
It certainly looks like it. It looks like a pharaoh. It looks like a sphinx head, maybe, or maybe like a pharaoh head.
Specifically, that sword looks like whatever the heck the gold. I played against this a couple of weeks ago. Whatever the black green multicolored. Nope, I totally misremembered. There is a card that has a sword that looks very, very similar to the one depicted on that art. And that's kind of neat. So this card, where do you see this fitting and why do you like it?
I like it. I was going to say teachings, but I do like it in teachings actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of a manland.
I mean, yeah. Let's get the elephant out. Let's get the elephant out of the room. This resembles Mishra's Factory.
Yes, obviously it's much worse.
Yes, that's the other thing I wanted to get to. It is significantly worse than Mishra's Factory. That said, one of the things that got brought up in our group chat about Pauper was this lets you ramp a turn quicker into Evenkar's Justice, and you can activate it after you cast the Justice, in theory. So I know a Pox deck isn't possible, but this might enable some level of a sort of sit there, have this threat that doesn't die to your own removal, your own mass removal, and then get them. I just don't think it's quite there yet, personally.
Yeah, I agree, unfortunately, but I do really like the card, and I think it's a big gift for control decks.
Yeah, I guess the question is, like, is there a control deck that can, or is there a version of Teachings? Let's just be honest here. That can afford to get rid of the sort of
talisman.
Yeah. I was just trying to figure out a way to phrase it, like the cushion that Pristine Talisman provides. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Like, Pristine Talisman lets you play a game where you're starting at a much higher life total.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just really like it. I don't know.
No, I'm right there with you. I think it is a cool, neat card. I just don't.
It doesn't go into affinity, unfortunately.
No, I don't think it goes there. Actually, I'm just going to send you this real quick while we're in the air. That's the card I was thinking of. Prepare to Fight, the split card from the green-white split rare from Amonkhet, depicts a sword that looks very, very similar to the one depicted on Guardian Idol. I think that may be unused Kaladesh or Amonkhet art.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Okay, so Guardian Idol is definitely one of the ones that I'm going to see a lot of people brewing with. I can almost guarantee that. I think it's the one I'm most divided on whether or not it's going to be good, but it certainly is a unique effect within Pauper, and I'm excited to see what comes of this. I'm a little bummed you can't play with Standstill, but you know, probably for the best.
100%.
Last on our list, and I'm not going to say not least, but you know, it's fine. Star Compass, 2 generic mana for an artifact. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add a color. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color that a basic land you control could produce. And that last little bit, the basic land, that kills this for me. If this worked like Reflecting Pool, I would be all over this. And it's probably good it doesn't, for the record.
Yeah. It's a neat ramp card, though. It's going to be going to your cube, I'm sure, right?
Star Compass was actually already legal in Peasant Cubes, but again, it's that basic land bit.
It's good for Pauper EDH
and Pauper Cubes, actually, because actually, you know what? I think, and I want to double check this. I think that we doubled the amount of 2 mana rocks in Pauper.
No, because there are signets.
Oh crap! I guess those are 2 mana rocks. I was just thinking about so it seems it equals
generic ones.
Yeah, I was thinking about we have Felwar Stone and we have actually I think Felwar Stone was never printed at Common Online. And then we have Mind Stone. That's the one I'm thinking of. The one that I see in Commander all the time because it draws cards. But yeah, I guess we do have the signets. So I lied. I goofed it up, folks.
The one of Scred Red fame.
Yeah. All right. So Iconic Masters, our big hits, and feel free to add to this. Seeker of the Way, Dissolve. There wasn't really a good black card. I was trying to do one of each color. Also, red was pretty subpar. Lead the Stampede and Guardian Idol. I think those 4 are the big gets out of the set, and I expect to see each one of those at least featured in brews, if not going 5-0 at some point or doing decently in a challenge.
I'll give you that. Prove us wrong. Make other cards work.
Yeah. I have said it before. I will say it again in this moment. I'm totally okay with being proven wrong. if you want to go out and build some wacky deck that turns out that it's sweet, what you're doing there, you're giving me free content for me to produce at a later date. So I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth.
We've also definitely been wrong during our set reviews before.
True. Yeah, we have. I mean, our first set review was Eternal Masters, and we dropped the ball pretty hard on that one. So not exactly a great track record. If you have any interesting brews featuring these cards, and obviously, Iconic Masters isn't going to be out for a while, but if you have any brews or ideas featuring these cards, or, different takes on these cards and what they'll do to the metagame, please let us know. I'd love to start any sort of dialogue we can about this, because I think at least Iconic Masters is going to produce a shift in the metagame that I am excited to see.
Yeah.
Any other closing thoughts from you, Adrian?
Nah, I'm good. Let's take him out on a date.
All right, go for it, my guy.
Well, thanks for joining us today. This podcast is brought to you by support of our Patreons. Please consider supporting us if you like the show. You Renaissance man or woman, person. Check below this video description of this podcast for details on where to find us. We'd like to remind you that if you're listening to this on a platform with reviews, they're always appreciated because they boost our visibility. If you've got a deck list or an idea for a topic, feel free to contact us either via our website or by emailing us directly at colorcommentary@gmail.com. Special thanks to Past Games and to L. Until next week, this is Adrian and Mike, and we are signing off for Color Commentary.
Oh my God, that was a long one. I feel like it was good though. Was it? We're at like an hour 35.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, we're in the post show. Yeah. Holy shit. I mean, we basically did 2 set reviews, right? So
yeah. I may have miscalculated how many total cards it was, and even the ones we didn't spend that long on kind of add up. But I feel like that was good. I liked it.
Yeah, dude, the set review episodes are such gimmies.
Yeah, they're enjoyable.
I mean, we work really hard on every episode. Patrons.
This one, since your computer couldn't stay on for more than 5 minutes, I got my work cut out for me editing it. But
yeah, sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it, man. So actually, I wanted to tell you, I started making kimchi. My dad brought over stuff, and I started a batch of kimchi, and I'm super excited about it.
You would.
Yeah, I mean all it is, and I'm not exaggerating this. So patrons, obviously be careful with this because it does involve leaving food out without preservatives, but you just take a head of Napa cabbage, you chop it up, you put it into a bowl, you grab 2 tablespoons of pickling salt, add that in, and you just kind of massage it around and put it in a container with a proper pickling lid that allows for the escape of gas, blah, blah, blah. Look this up on your own and you're good. And it just starts fermenting and you get this delicious, sour, cabbagey stuff.
Napa, but you hate California.
But yeah. Go out and eat some probiotic food, folks. It's good for you. All right. It is almost, it's pulling up on 10:30, and my wife already glared at me when I went out and told her I would be another hour in here. So I am going to, I think, call this one. You got anything else you want to wish to the patrons before we head out here, Adrian?
Recruit more patrons.
All right.
That's my mission to you.
Bye, patrons.
Fulfill your mission.
Bye, patrons. We love you all. Have a good night.